that RBK Mustangs doesn't give any kind of context for that stuff. He doesn't bring it up. He only starts on the second day where this whole thing happens. That's not entirely true. He does bring up that something did happen previously, right here.
You just have your timelines confused, man.
He's actually...
You know, Possum, you talk a lot about goofiness in your video. Goofiness is having to draw a timeline so people can understand how two grown men communicated 7 months prior. Yes, he talks about the night that I leave, and that's the same night that I see his Discord messages that he leaves up on his other monitor. He's referencing the previous day where I help him stream on his account, on his TikTok live. He says to Rattle I was promoting my own stream. That's what his viewers were thinking I was doing too. That's the lie. That's the whole point of all of this. When I say he leaves out context to Rattle, I'm not talking about these 2 days. I'm talking about how he leaves out the fact that he was talking shit earlier in the month and how I confront him on that when I first land. Because that's what makes the whole thing worse when he does it again.
Egregious. It was, I think, verbatim for what I told him earlier in the day. And I could just tell he was mad. And I was like, bro, what's wrong? I was like, I told you all of that. And he's like, just kind of got this look on his face, like really angry look. And I'm like, bro, like,
yeah,
we talked about this. I thought we were cool. And it was like, and it just escalated from there. He
explain it.
He's like, you should have fucking stood up for me. Sorry for the language.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but
oh no,
like,
I do it all the time. I shouldn't.
All right, cool. So he's like, you should have fucking stuck up for me. I was like, bro, what he said is true. Like, what you did wasn't cool. He didn't say like you're a piece of shit. He just said that it wasn't cool, and you really shouldn't. It was like
he did say that. You also didn't tell him the truth and say that I was helping your live stream on your TikTok live. You messed up. And here where he kind of fumbles over his words to Rattle, as soon as I confront him when he walks into the stream room, I think I'm already like, I'm kind of teary-eyed, I'm crying, I'm definitely, getting emotional. And I'm just like, we talked about this. We have already gone over this. And literally 24 hours ago, you told me you would never do something like this again. But I know it was a lie. You just use people for views and clicks, and you only see people as numbers. It's very strange, and that's why you've turned so harshly. In this moment, he was very apologetic. He was trying to get me to stay. I was like, dude, I'm leaving. I don't want to be under your rooftop. I don't want to be within 20 feet of you. I was done with this guy. And I told him our friendship was over. He is trying to defend his actions so hard. He's trying to be apologetic because he knows he got caught. And he's like, well, my follower is saying this and I can't make him angry. So what was I supposed to say? Those were his exact words. And then this is where all the lies, all the comments, we can show the screenshots of him saying that I threw a keyboard. I'm still in front of his stream setup. And he's like, what was I supposed to say to him? And of course, I'm emotional. I guess I didn't need to do this, but it's not anywhere like to the level of what he's describing, especially when he says, I threw a keyboard across the room, or if he's just saying, I threw a keyboard. But when he says, I don't know what I was supposed to say or what could I have possibly done, all he needed to do was just explain the situation. He knows I was live streaming on his account. All he had to do was type that. So I was still in front of his monitors and keyboard because I was still sitting in the chair when he walked in the room.
Point, I'm getting pretty furious because I'm like, you just threw something of mine. It's like, I don't know if it's broken.
So I typed that just like this. He was helping me. And I lift the keyboard up to basically show emphasis and show my frustration with him and his actions. That is all I did. I swear on my mother's life and my father's life, and he knows that. He knows that too. That's all that happened. Or he would have pictures of a damaged keyboard or of it thrown against the wall or hitting something, but he has no pictures of that because that's all that was done. And this is for all the opossums or other people that have literally typed out something to the effect of, you didn't prove anything, or you didn't prove any of that, in response to me saying to him, no property was thrown. Dude, that's like saying I could just accuse you, Opossum, of stealing a booster box, and I just made it up. And if you said you didn't, I'd say, well, prove that you didn't. This way of thinking is extremely dangerous and reveals bias because of people like RBK and PokemonDealsCommunity, who you already have even said is a pretty big piece, and he's aligned with him. I know and he knows I didn't throw it. But it's going to be a he said, she said thing, and I understand that. It's not my job for me to prove I didn't throw it. I showed you literally what I did, and just like Adrian, he's exaggerating the story to make it seem worse than it actually is. That's why our legal system works as innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. And so I genuinely hope you're better at taking a non-biased stance if you're going to talk about a subject you weren't directly involved in with your followers.
Point, I'm getting pretty furious because I'm like, you just threw something of mine. And he throws my chair into my slab wall that I have behind me in my room. So he just threw one of my foldable chairs against the wall.
RBK then claims I threw a chair against his slab wall. Against the wall. Okay, I left his place. It's not like I had time to clean up after I left. I mean, where's the photos? You had the whole place to yourself after that. Where's the picture evidence, the video evidence? Guys, it's just simple questions we can ask ourselves. He's just embellishing the story to make it sound worse than it actually is.
You're wrong. Like, in response to him, I could find it.
You responded on your Discord to someone else?
You responded on my Discord
pretending
to the person
to be
that messaged me. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, but that...
No, I'm not pretending to be him. I'm not impersonating him. RBK watches me the whole time I do that. And that's me explaining to him what he should have done, as if RBK can't put two and two together. Of course, he doesn't explain to Rattle how he lied about not telling his audience member that I was on his live stream on RBK's TikTok live promoting him, not on my own live stream. They think I was self-promoting in your room with your stuff. I'm showing off your slab wall. I'm showing off cool things that you could be doing in your TikTok lives to be successful. So then he brings up the chair thing, or with the throwing of the keyboard, which I've already shown what that was. He goes, oh, he's thrown a chair in my place too.
And he throws my chair into my slab wall.
When I get up from the chair that I'm sitting in, he has like his main chair and a guest chair. The guest chair is just a metal folding chair. And when he's talking about like, oh, I wasn't trying to betray you, or I didn't know what to say, I tell him, dude, we just discussed this. You did betray me because of part one and everything we've already gone over, and I let him slide on that. I let bygones be bygones. I let the water go under the bridge, and I told him I wasn't going to have any resentment for that. I'm telling him this as like tears are streaming down my face. And what I do exactly is go, you're supposed to have my back. You're not supposed to tear me down. We've already had this conversation. I was sitting in this chair right here. I was sitting in this chair. It was just like that. That's exactly how I did it. Probably didn't need to do that, but I'm extremely distressed at this point. Again, this guy has betrayed my trust again. It's extremely annoying. I just did that for emphasis and to vent frustration, but in no world, and again, I can swear on my mother's life and my father's life, did I pick up a chair and throw it, or toss a chair, or push it. And this is what he now uses as a lie to say that I threw a chair. That's the truth. That's, all I can say. I know it's a he said, she said, because I wish there was a camera, or I could just go back in time and be like a ghost and show a visual recording of what happened in that room. But once I do that, it is a loud enough noise that his wife does come into the room. I basically just say, I'm going. Like, I don't want to be here. She's like, what is going on? What is with all this commotion? And she is distressed because, right, she hears us yelling at each other, and she hears, the banging. it's her house too. She's like, what is going on? She goes, I think you need to leave. And I go, I don't want to be around this man. I don't want to be within 20 feet of him. I've already decided I was going to leave. Again, RBK to Rattle says he had to throw me out, or he throws me out of his house and that I wouldn't leave or something like that. No, I've already decided I was going to leave. I even move past her. I'm packing up my stuff. I don't even pack it very well. I'm just, shoving stuff in my suitcase so that I can just get out of this house. And a very key factor in getting some insight into RBK's behavior, and so that you guys know it's not the way that he twists or embellishes the story, is I remember this very distinctly. I remember looking at his wife, and at one point, as I'm either in the stream room or I leave to like go pack my stuff, I see him, I see her, and she kind of looks at me and she can just tell I'm distressed again. And she can tell I've been hurt or that I've been wronged. And she looks at his face, RBK's, and she says, just like this, "What did you do?" And she knows him. She's his wife. She can kind of assess by looking at his face that he is kind of the guilty party in this scenario. Otherwise, I just don't think she would have asked that question that way. He doesn't even answer her. He can't. And that's when she kind of softens up to me, or she's just kind of like, what is going on? And she kind of knows, like she can tell that he did something, which he did. I'm leaving the place. I go downstairs with my stuff. I even apologized to her. I remember that as well, which he texts me later saying that I never did to him or to her. But I even go, hey, I know I didn't talk much to you. Sorry about all this commotion. I probably say something like, oh, your husband's a douche. I'm leaving the house. He's still trying to talk to me or to defend his actions and make excuses for his behavior. I'm just like, no, man, I don't want to hear it. We're no longer friends anymore. We're done. And that's all I'm really saying to him as I leave his place. He then says to Rattle and in comments that I'm like yelling outside of his neighborhood, that I'm waking up children. This is probably at like midnight or 1 a.m. I'm not yelling for the sake of yelling in the neighborhood to upset the neighbors. All I'm really saying is something clear enough and loud enough for him to hear, which is, dude, I don't want to talk to you. Get away from me. I'm leaving. I probably walk like 2 or 3 blocks away from his house. And that's when he texts me, hey, you can stay in the RV, which is funny because he brings this text message up as a point of him being like a nice guy, or he didn't want me to not have a place to sleep at night. Let's be clear and let's really think about this. If I, to how he describes it, threw a chair in his place or threw a keyboard, if I just went ballistic for no reason in his place, just like if anyone did that in anyone's house, if you're throwing that person out, you are not then offering them another place or for them to stay in another piece of your property. If I just stayed in his RV, I could have wrecked his RV because I'm throwing chairs and I'm throwing keyboards. He did that because he knew he effed up. And I refused to stay in his RV. I walk 2 or 3 blocks down. I call my buddy Wes. I say, hey, I need to go to your place. I call a car to my buddy's place. And then I just don't need to speak to RBK or see him ever again. And that was fine because I was already planning on going to my buddy's place the next day anyway and staying with him for the rest of my trip in Portland. That was already planned.
Escalate this or kick him out. So I kick him out. I'm like, you got to leave right fucking now. And he's not wanting to leave.
Not true. Already explained how I had already told him from within 2 minutes of him entering the room that I'm not staying under his roof for any other extended period of time and that I was already leaving on my own accord. Later, I do text him, and we'll go over those texts right now. So this screenshot that Rattle references here, RBK goes, "You threatened to punch me in my own house." This is after he said, "If you can't get a ride to your friends tonight, you can sleep in the RV if you want. The bed is made in there." I've already debunked why this is ridiculous that he would show Rattle this. This proves that he felt some sort of guilt because he knew he had effed up. Later, he says, "You didn't want to talk, you just wanted to yell at me." So people reference here when I go, "Man, and you deserved it too," that means that I wanted to punch him. I didn't punch him in his house. I could have. There were many opportunities to, but I refrained from any sort of physical engagement with him. The part that what he deserves is in reference to talking to him. The yelling at him, he deserved to be yelled at. That is what I was saying in that text message. All the texts I send to him after are for me to just get some sort of closure or apology from him, and he never does. And so my final text to him is simply calling him out for wanting an apology from me. I'm like, you want an apology from me after this is how you treat your friends? It's just unreal. And the fact that he would just make up parts to Rattle and just bold-faced lie, exaggerate my actions to make himself look like the victim is the exact kind of slime ball tactics that Adrian Mui used, the known scammer, which is indicative of why they teamed up together in the first place. Again, RBK partnered with a scammer that has a live lawsuit against him right now just to do this. Scuff mark on the wall or something. He has no photo or video evidence of anything of that nature. I'm not saying I'm infallible, and I definitely could have handled some of my parts better. But if you've ever been wronged by a friend or betrayed by someone that you thought you were close to, you know how that feels. You think that this is someone you can trust and that they have your back, but then you come to find that they don't have your back at all, and in fact, quite opposite. And now imagine not only do they betray your trust, but then they try to play the victim. I can swear on my life that everything I said in this video is the 100% truth, and just know that if you follow and subscribe to this channel, I will always be 100% real and authentic with y'all, and I'll always tell it to you straight like it is. If you're new in here and you like Pokemon TCG or One Piece TCG content, you're always welcome in my channel, and just know that I appreciate everyone that's reached out with their support and everyone that's already a part of the Pokeball squad. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all more than you know. Thank you, and be safe, y'all.